Hi, I'm Roy Furr, and it's Friday, which means it's time for your weekly Video Friday issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, I've been answering questions all week, and I will go back to answering questions on Monday, but today I have a different topic for you. I want to ask, are you an asker or are you a guesser? I was looking through some personal development stuff online, and apparently somebody posted some comments on Reddit a couple of years ago now that said that there are kind of two cultures of people, two types of people. There are people who are askers, and there are people who are guessers. And probably most of us, especially those of us who feel like we're still developing our self-confidence, are guessers. We guess what other people want so as not to have to admit our own ignorance. We guess what other people want, and we often pursue avenues along those lines so that we don't have to ask them what it is that they want. And so, an example would be a big project that you're working on for work. And your boss may have a specific idea, or your client may have a specific idea of what it is that they want from this project, but they didn't pass on all the details to you, and you make a lot of assumptions about what it needs to be. And so you are guessing and you're guessing and you're guessing, and you're going down this path of creating this project, of completing this project based on a whole bunch of guesses and assumptions. And then when you actually hand it to the client or hand it to your boss, they hate it, and your work gets rejected because you guessed what they wanted. Now, the hope there and the reason that we guess is because we're trying to avoid rejection. But what happens all too often to guessers is that some or all of the guesses are wrong. And so you end up facing far more rejection than you have to. Now, on the other side of this are people who are okay with being wrong, people who are okay with not having a certain bit of knowledge. And so instead of guessing about what somebody may want, they'll just ask. And so they'll say, would you like this way or this way? Can you answer these questions for me? And really, if they are ignorant about the details of the project in this instance, it can be they have a very productive conversation where, because they haven't done the work based on a bunch of guesses, their actual happiness and sense of security is not jeopardized when somebody rejects an idea, because they're early on in the process and they are asking as opposed to guessing. Now, this applies in all sorts of different social situations. It can apply in personal relationships. It can apply in lots of different places. By asking early and asking often to get clarification, you actually end up feeling the personal rejection less than you would if you guessed in order to avoid rejection, avoid no's, but move forward based on those guesses anyway. So askers tend to find situations are easier to navigate, even if they're getting way more no's, because they are asking early before they have their own personal emotional commitment to the situation based on a bunch of guesses. Now, I think of a couple different applications of this, and one of them, it's super common for people who go out on their own as consultants or copywriters or whatever, are trying to launch that business. They will try to perfectly guess which client would be the client that would hire them and pay them well and have all sorts of opportunity for as much work as they could handle. And so they'll constantly make guesses that end up saying, no, this person's not a fit. They don't write the right kind of marketing. They don't hire freelancers. They don't do this. They don't do that. So not a fit, not a fit, not a fit, based on all sorts of guesses trying to find the perfect client. Whereas if you are an asker, you can come up with a list of 5, 10, 15, 20 people that you want to approach and say, hey, here's my situation. Do you think there's a fit here? Hey, here's my situation. Do you think there's a fit here? Now, if the guesser puts all this time and effort and mental energy getting wrapped up in making sure that they're making the perfect decision, and then they get rejected by that one that they thought was a perfect decision, that is a crippling rejection. Whereas the asker who says, okay, I've got a list of 20 people and I just need to find who's a good fit, then they can be rejected 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 times. But the two that they find that are a great fit can be an incredible opportunity for them. And so that's yet another example of where being an asker or putting on an asker hat, because I think all of us have both of these personalities within us. We have an asker within us who in certain situations is able to ask and figure out, what other people think and figure out what the best course of action is based on all this other input. And that is emotionally separated from whether the answer is going to be a yes or no. And then we have situations where we bring all sorts of guesses, where we're afraid to speak up, where we're afraid to ask questions, where we're afraid to get the details that we don't know. And so we make guesses and we bring that. And by giving the responsibility for our behavior to the asker part of who we are more and more often, we will find that opportunities, that our desires come to us quicker and easier than if we were to go down the guesser avenue trying to get it right the first time. One more example. Ryan Levesque has this great book called Ask, actually, that is about how to ask your market what challenges they're facing and thus what they would be interested in buying products to solve. And it is a technique and tactic and strategic way to approach this situation where you actually need to ask your market what it's going to respond to. The alternate side of that is that you could spend years, you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars on developing a product, a service, a marketing campaign that your market just doesn't care about. And I've seen this happen too. I've seen businesses that got big investments that spent years developing their product just to find that nobody actually cared about it. And so the more you can approach your marketing, your business building, your product development as an ask to the marketplace, hey, is this something that solves a problem that you want to solve right now that you're willing to invest in a solution to, versus, oh, I'm going to guess the perfect situation, the perfect solution, the perfect presentation of my solution for the marketplace. The more you can put your asker in charge of that through things like market testing, through things like ask surveys or quiz funnels, through all of these different, through running advertorials that test different market messages before you really sink a lot of time, energy, effort, and money into developing a bigger campaign around it. By focusing on all of these different ways that you can ask as opposed to guess and move forward based on a whole pile of assumptions, the more you can do that, the better off you're going to be. So, are you an asker or a guesser? Really is the asker part of you in charge of more of your behavior and your decision making than the guesser part of you? And over time, how can you move more of your decision making, more of your behavior towards the asker part of you, getting consent and excitement and getting buy-in for what it is that you want to do early, versus relying on a bunch of guesses and assumptions that may not pan out in the end. So how are you going to elevate your asker inside of you, inside of all that you do in the future, in the near future? I hope that this has been a useful perspective. When I saw this, I knew that it was, on the principles level, on the perspective level, would be incredible, or was incredibly valuable to me to make this distinction. And I hope it has been for you. Again, this is a Video Friday issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Monday through Thursday, I write a daily essay and send it out via email at breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. You can sign up there. And on Friday, I produce these videos for you to answer your questions, to give insights, to help you develop as a marketer and as a human being. So again, I hope this has been valuable. My name is Roy Furr. This is your Video Friday issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And I look forward to seeing you again in your next Video Friday issue.